What's good, y'all? It's King of the Root back with another video, and I just want to come through with a couple of messages surrounding the energy of Takeoff and kind of what Takeoff has to say, but he's not really speaking, so it's more of an energy. First off, since Takeoff has crossed over, Takeoff definitely cannot believe that he's gone. He's not resting in peace. You know, sometimes certain spirits are taken out brutally or in a violent way, and within a couple of months or sometimes a couple of days. You know, time does not exist over there. It really doesn't exist here either. But for yeah, we're going to put that on the shelf. But a lot of times, once you know the ancestors come and get them, or their guides, or whoever comes and gets them and loves on them and kind of shows them certain things, and they do whatever they take care of whatever they have to take care of. You know, a lot of them can kind of be okay with it and kind of transition and move on. Takeoff is not right now. He is in complete awe, which is why I don't care how much we say this is a ritual and it's a sacrifice, which it was. Um, there's still an energy about this that says this was wrong place, wrong time, and I don't feel like this was. I feel like it was planned, but it wasn't at the same time. You know what? I'm not going to keep saying it was planned. I'm going to say this was not planned, but there was still an energy of. There were still people around, and there were still energies and dark forces around that knew that something could happen like this, and if certain triggers were triggered, then a certain outcome could come out. We'll say it like that. But this was not planned like somebody sat and plotted weeks in advance, something like that. I'm not getting that at all. This definitely is giving me, this is like a spare of the moment thing. Like, that's just what it's giving me, and I'm gonna keep sticking with that. Cause even Quavo is taking it back. Those tears you see are very real, um, for sure. Um, I didn't think I was gonna talk about really Quavo or his energy like that. I was gonna speak on it, but not in this way. I wouldn't be shocked, you guys, and I really think that Quavo is going to spiral out of control. Um, it's funny because I get the energy, like, I kind of get the energy of, if this was planned at all, I get the energy of like Quavo was, um, what is the word? He was approached by somebody who was a higher up. And I get the energy of like somebody wanted him to do something and they'd asked a couple of times and he said no. And he said no, I guess, like in a nice way at first, because this person that I'm talking about, they had did business before, and then eventually he had to become stern about the no and was like, I'm not going to do this. And I don't know if I'm talking about sacrifice and things like that. I feel like they wanted him to do something as far as his career and maybe push a certain movement or carry out a certain agenda. And with Quavo being an Aries like me, and those of you who know Aries and their energy, we can be mean, and when we get mad, we can be very nasty. He definitely had to get nasty with this person, I think, for the first time ever, when he was like, nah, not doing it, not down with it. And like I said, if this was planned at all, this is the only person who's a higher up who really had something to do with it. And I feel like Takeoff's death, in a sense, was an example. Or was you know what? Not an example. Let me get my words right. It wasn't an example. It was more so a control thing. Like, if I remove this person out of your life because I know they're so close and they're kind of like your crutch, or your what is the word? Not barrier. We'll just say crutch for lack of better words. But if I know this energy or this place or this person or thing is your crutch, I know if I remove it, I can get you in a certain place. You get what I'm saying? And Takeoff may have been a part of this so-called deal, or been offered the same thing, but Quavo especially, and somebody has an agenda with um, getting Quavo away from certain people who are like safe havens. Okay, um, yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say that somebody higher up. Like I said, it wasn't an example. It was more so like, if I remove this person, I can get you where I want you and get you to move in the way that I want you to move. But now I'm going to predict. I predict that Takeoff, godly, so on my mind. I predict that Quavo is going to spiral out of control. I see a lot of drugs in this future. I don't see him getting over this. Um, I feel like programming is supposed to come after this, and then they try to reprogram him because he's going to go into such a depression, but it's not going to work. It's going to affect him in such a way that ain't right. Offset's going to be okay. Cardi going to keep him right, and that connection is not there like it was with Quavo and Takeoff. It just wasn't there. So Offset's gonna be okay for the most part, but he's hurt and in pain too. Back to Takeoff. Takeoff can't believe it. Takeoff feels funny. Um, I'll say this: even if people go to jail and we feel like as humans justice is served, a different type of justice will come one day, and I feel like it'll come in a way that we won't know about it, but it's going to be served. And the only example of a person I can give you that could serve a type of justice, or you would think once they crossed over with God, they could serve a type of justice like this because I like them so much. And they were such a powerful being, it's like Whitney Houston. But even Whitney Houston didn't get to serve justice or revenge in this way. But Takeoff we'll get to. With Takeoff being an air sign and him specifically being a duality sign, a Gemini, once Takeoff does get himself together on the other side, he definitely gonna research and do what he gotta do to find the people that did what they did. And not just the people who killed him. All those folks that were kind of involved. And like I said, the revenge is going to be served in a way that a lot of us may not even notice it, but it will be served. And it won't be served in our time. This is going to come years after, and it's going to shock certain folk. But it ain't over. But right now, revenge is not on Takeoff mind. Takeoff is trying to figure out what the fuck happened, how he ended up there. He upset with Quavo. He loved Quavo, but he definitely not in a place where he wants to come down and comfort him. Kind of like when like your parents move over or cross over, or like somebody you were close to crosses over, and they send you like a sign or something, or like send you comfort because they know you still stuck here on Earth and you miss them. He can't even find his feelings to be in a certain place like that because he kind of fucked up in the game. Does that make sense? I want to go back to the girls too, the girls that I read on when I pulled the cards. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I feel like definitely there's a girl connected to this death, but not in the way that I think you guys are thinking. Like, I don't think that she had him murdered. But I will say, I feel like a girl was at this party that Takeoff turned down, and they're connected to Jay Prince's crew. And Takeoff is very respectful, and he was very respectful with women. But the girl who approached him that was at this party that kept coming up in the cards, when she was turned down, she felt some type of way because I guess she had never been turned down. I feel like she has a certain status with Jay Prince's crew. Like maybe she's a queen, or like I think like in Bloods they call like the girls diamonds, but like that's a lower level initiate in the gang. I think she's higher up like a queen, or maybe she's like the daughter of a kingpin or something. Or like, you know how like with the Italians, when like their godfathers, how their daughters are like put on a pedestal. This is how this girl is. And she was turned down by Quavo, and she couldn't believe Quavo Takeoff, and she couldn't believe it. And that played a little bit of a part of the negative energy that was at this party, or it was talked about, and it wasn't forgotten. So it made Takeoff getting killed even the more better. Understood? What is it? Understand, understand, overstand? And there was another girl there too I talked about, but that girl's not important right now. This other girl is very important because I feel like one day she'll come out, or we're gonna locate her eventually. You're like, oh, it was that girl. Yeah, she's connected to Jay Prince's crew. And like I said, she may not be anybody. Like she may not have money because she's done something, but like I said, I feel like she's somebody's daughter. And like when she approached you and wants some dick, or she want to go out on a date with you, and you're on the same level as her, or status or pedigree, you fucking go out with her. but but he wasn't fun, or he didn't want to do it, and it didn't happen, but they showed up at the same party, and this was discussed and this was remembered. But Takeoff, he not doing okay. His ancestors came and, you know, crossed over and and came and got him, as most of our ancestors do, but he not doing all right. He lost. He trying to figure out what's going on, and that's why I keep saying I don't think this was planned, and if it was, it wasn't planned in the way we're thinking. I think everybody's a little lost and trying to figure out. But what we will say is that it's too many people who were at this party or this event that nobody knows who killed them. Everybody there, or at least 85% of the people there, know who killed him. I mean, when he got shot, it wasn't like it wasn't people standing there. Everybody was standing there. They know who shot him. I didn't know who Jay Prince was before this incident or this crew or the Fifth Ward, but I ain't seen power like this in a while, where like you can be at an event or you can kill somebody, and it could be tons of people, especially in this world where nothing's a secret anymore, especially with social media and cameras, and ain't nobody said nothing. So these people are very scared, and they know that they know that they'll get killed, because this area of Texas and this group of people have like things on lock. That's like some old school like gang like mentality. Like, because we know the gangs aren't about shit now. Because if they were, Tekashi 6ix9ine wouldn't be living. After he snitched on like half the Bloods, he would not be living in like the 80s or 90s or early 2000s. They would have been killed him. And maybe they still are going to kill him, but he would have been dead. Like, but as long as he's been out, and as many diss tracks as he's put out, and as many times as he shit on people and pretty much called all you niggas bitches, he would be dead by now. So we're not going to sit here and pretend like we may not know who killed him. We have theories because we've seen the videos, but those people do. And I feel like the cops do in Texas too. Those who are investigating, they're probably scared too. Somebody's on payroll. They got people on payroll there too, because them folk kill people all the time. You know, this gang. But that's because everybody's corrupt. We know the police are tied in with the gangs, or certain gangs, and certain police officers and certain authorities are tied in with the gangs. And this Fifth Ward got certain people on payroll, lots of people on payroll. And the dude that they have in the media right now, I think that was charged today, he's a patsy. I don't think he did it for sure. I always figured that they were going to find somebody to take the rap, especially if Jay Prince's side, one of his people, or one of the people who killed Takeoff, and if it's his family and it's really his son, like some people were theorizing, if it was his son, or his son had something to do with it. Of course, he's not going to send his son. Like, if he's the king, then the son's the prince. His son ain't going to fucking jail, period. Ain't happening. So I always knew it was going to be Patsy. They're going to find one of their low-level niggas who's a part of this group, or they're going to find somebody, pay him off and say, look, nigga, you go do your 5 to 10 or maybe your life sentence, and we'll make sure this shit always on your books. We got people in jail. You always have little commissary and the best and drugs and all that good shit when like you're in a really good tight gang in jail or prison, and shit just runs smooth for you because you know people and you're in the right gang. So he'd be looked after, and they're going to tell him, you know, if he has kids, we're going to make sure your kids have the best and your mom's going to be all right. But what you going to do is, it's not really a question. What you going to do is take this charge. That's what you're going to do. So don't believe the hype with this person being taken in, especially since it's been a month. It shouldn't have taken a month, like I said, because there were too many people, it's too many angles, and it's too many videos. The type of videos they have of this killing, it's almost like we were all there. So ain't no secrets here. Ain't no secrets. They know who did it. They know who did it. Takeoff. Yeah, Takeoff gonna get y'all asses. That's all I'm gonna say. Takeoff's gonna get your asses. I don't really know who did it, and it's above my pay grade when you start talking about gangs and stuff. But Takeoff gonna get you. And Gemini energy, although that energy is probably not really, he ain't under really Gemini anymore. He just is because he's crossed over. But that Gemini energy definitely is patient. Is going to wait, and like I said, justice may be served now, and there might be retaliation with Atlanta and Texas, but his revenge gonna come at a different time. I don't even know if we call it revenge, but it's gonna come at a later time when you least expect it. And this what is the word when somebody like seconds it or not gives authority, but it's back. This is co-signed by a higher energy that's of good. We could say God or Jesus, and that's why I use Whitney Houston, because that's the only person I could think of who was sacrificed and crossed over, and who could probably like go to God and be like, what's more, maybe Michael Jackson too. And there's probably regular beings like us, but people we know in the media that you would know, or the industry, um, who were sent down here with a certain energy that were divine, like God, like angelic. She couldn't even ask God to co-sign this type of revenge, but Takeoff, it's being co-signed, and I feel it. So that's really all I wanted to come and say. Um, don't believe the hype. Don't follow this fake ass story with this dude being charged. It's a load of crap. And part 2 of Takeoff. So this is King of the Road, aka the Cursed Prophet, back with another video. And I'll be back with part 3 once I get some more information.